0.6 has a psychological element, which is two walls. Two walls for the same strength, even though it's the same material deposition, your machine moves less, meaning faster print speeds, even for the exact same. But at 0.4, you're doing 3, and at 0.5, you're still doing 3. So all the thing that's changed is nozzle size.
Yep.
Which one do you go with?
For just on average?
Just on average.
0.4. And I know that you're going to probably go with 0.6. I know a lot of people go with 0.6. My XL is set up 3 by 0.4, 2 by 0.6. There are some cases where we use 0.6. 0.6 is great because you can do like 0.8 millimeter wide extrusions or 0.9 millimeter wide extrusions, and you're getting, 2 perimeters for the price of 1. That is always great. But by and large, we don't. So like pretty much every off-the-shelf machine comes with 0.4s, right?
Yeah.
And nozzles are not cheap. And when you have as many machines as we do, swapping them all out doesn't make a lot of sense. It makes more sense to work with what you got and max that out. And if for some reason you need more, swap it. But as soon as you swap it to, let's say, a 0.6, it doesn't go back, right? If it goes to a 0.8, it doesn't go back. So like the Mark III that's behind me that always has like 2 spools orange on it because they're really, really old Prusa spools, and I don't know where to put them. So they just sit there. That machine has a 1.0 diamond nozzle on it. It is a hyper-specific machine for hyper-specific materials. And it's also our R&D machine when we're testing out like really weird stuff. Like I tested out a material that had a lot of butylene in it. It stinks. It smells like vomit when you're printing. And I'm like, I can't get behind this because it always smells like somebody's vomiting, and I don't like that. But that's what that machine is for, because I've never clogged a 1.0 diamond. It's just, it will eventually go to a Mark 3.5. That is the end result of that machine, is it will go to a 3.5. However, that's all that machine does. It serves a specific purpose in the shop. But because the vast majority of the work that we get in is just all over the board of like, I need detail, I need speed, I need both. 0.4, because you can still go to 0.6 on your extrusion width. It's fine. You can do it all day. It doesn't matter. You can really clean up a 0.4 to make it run reasonably fast, get it close enough to a 0.6 that it works better in my experience. And
I find like if you default to a 0.6 and you get used to that, you don't have to worry about fiber, because fiber does not like a 0.4.
Totally agree. And yes, I agree.
So you can just switch materials and you don't have to consider it.
But find me a machine that comes with 0.6 from the factory that is, on the consumer level of affordable, and there aren't many out there. I mean,
there aren't really.
The XL, my XL came with 5 0.6s on it because it was one of the first XLs that was shipped. I was a day one pre-order.
Now, the reason they went back to 0.4, in my opinion, on the XL is entirely because they missed the memo of why a 0.6 is good, but also what makes it bad is flow rate. A 0.6 almost doubles your flow rate requirement to get decent speed.
But the melt zone...
So if you don't want to be printing 60 millimeters per second on a 0.6, because you were doing 120 on a 0.4, you needed a bigger melt zone.
I guess,
and they just didn't have it.
No, they don't.
Like, if they came with CHT to start with, and it was in a 0.6, I don't think anyone would have complained. But because the 0.6 didn't increase, well, it didn't decrease the print time at all, because they were flow rate limited.
They were hot end, not nozzle limited.
Yeah. And then on top of that, the slicer profile wasn't optimized for a 0.6. It was optimized for a 0.4. Because the best benefit of a 0.6 is 2 walls.
Yeah.
Versus a 0.4, which is 3 walls.
Like, there's a client...
You don't need to move as much.
There's a client that we've worked with for 7 years now, give or take. And it's the same parts over and over and over again. They have only recently allowed me to raise the prices. But over the last 7 years, they've declined my price increases. As my raw cost has gone up, as my labor has gone up, they have declined the price increases. And I finally went to him and said, look, I'm either increasing my prices or you can find another supplier because I'm not making enough money on these jobs for the amount of work that you guys need. But what we did is we refined those parts to be really, really fast printing with a 0.6. And even though it has to be on the XL, it's one of the only printers in our shop that's big enough to use those for those parts. They're huge parts, or huge for us, I guess. You know, I'm playing this game between as fast as I possibly can, but also trying to keep it under half a kilo, so that I can get 2 parts in 1 kilo. And it's not always the easiest thing in the world to do, but yeah, I mean, I don't normally go above 0.6. We don't often see a reason for it because the big machines that can go faster, they're not designed to go faster. The XL's not designed to go that fast. You know,
and the moment you put like a 0.8 in, you're flow rate limited again.
Yeah.
Like I do find 0.6 is for the current size of nozzles, a 0.6 is like the sweet spot between flow rate and accuracy.
Yes.
Whereas you go 0.8 and yeah, you're getting stronger parts,
but you lose
in reality,
accuracy.
you're still doing 2 walls. Yeah. Like if you wanted to really get a speed benefit, you want 1 wall. You want to go 3 walls for a 0.4, 2 walls for a 0.6, and then you want to go to 1 wall. You don't want the wall thickness, however, to be less than 1 millimeter.
Right.
Because then it's weak. So you're going to a 1 millimeter nozzle, and you're getting 1 millimeter like nozzle width, or even 1.2 millimeter nozzle width, which would be the optimal. And then you're really flow rate limited. You are not using any of your machine speed. You'll be at what, like 40 millimeters per second?
If that.
On a machine that is probably designed to go at 200.
Yeah,
so,
if that.
Yeah, it's why I find 0.6 nozzles are like the nice sweet spot.
They are.
Because if you can do high speed and you've got a CHT in that length, most printers are designed for doing those speeds.
Now they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, now they are.
Yeah. Like you could put a high speed CHT in a Bambu lab and it will actually do quite a good job.
Yeah, man, that's what I have in mind. So like, you know, so there's some talk about the 0.5, right? The 0.5 nozzle. So my Lulzbot Taz 6 came with a 0.5 stock, right?
Okay.
I replaced it once with a 0.5 after the first 0.5 blew itself out. Like literally the tip of the nozzle and the threads of the nozzle separated. They failed over hundreds, if not thousands of kilos of printing on that machine. They separated, and I put a 0.5 on it. We were expanding the business at the time, and so we had brought in a bunch of machines. They were all on 0.4. Now, this was before Arachne and all these other benefits that we have with modern slicers, okay? We were using, like, Repetier Host and Cura, and we were happy, okay? So you have to remember that. These were 8-bit printers. At best, they were 8-bit printers. A lot of them ran on Arduinos still. This was one of those weird cases where every other printer was a 0.4. So we ended up changing out the Lulzbot nozzle to also be a 0.4 because it standardized everything and it made more sense. The 0.4 is just because it is the same size as a 5/32 inch drill bit. That is the only reason that we use 0.4 is because it is a standardized drill bit size in both metric and SAE. It is the same. So I understand that.
I mean, even ignoring that, the benefit of a 0.5 versus a 0.4 is non-existent.
It's very, very minimal. And now the Basel crew is going to come out of the watch. You've just crapped on the 0.5 Basel, and that's going to upset the Basel people. Okay.
The benefit of a 0.5 is not psychological, which is what you get from a 0.6, but you're still getting the same issue as a 0.4, meaning you need 3 walls to get acceptable strength.
Yeah.
So while you're printing faster and you might be doing more material deposition, your times are the same, but you're using more material. Your infill is slightly thicker as well, so you're using more material. It just seems like it's all the downsides of a 0.4 with none of the upsides of a 0.6.
Now,
and you're using more material, so it costs more.
The Basel...
Because a 0.6 has a psychological element, which is two walls. Two walls for the same strength, even though it's the same material deposition, your machine moves less, meaning faster print speeds, even for the exact same.
So,
but at 0.4, you're doing 3, and at 0.5, you're still doing 3. So all the thing that's changed is slightly thicker wall, so slightly stronger, but more material usage.
You might be able to get 2 out of a 0.5 by pushing it to like 0.8, but you don't want to. Yeah, do that. You're getting a little close to where you're pushing harder than it should. But see, you're also still in the R&D stages, right? You're still in the F around and find out, but we're going to write it down so we can call it research side of things, right?
Well, even on the print jobs I don't care about the nozzles that much, because if the print job is important, I'm just printing. And if I think there's anything wrong with the nozzle at all, I switch it out just in case, as a precaution. So I don't even do it until I confirm anything. Step 1 is I'm changing the nozzle, even if it's a perfectly fine nozzle.
Like, here's an example for the XL. For the XL, I do have spare nozzles. Like, I have spare neck extruders laying around. I have even more fully built hot ends. So that is a neck extruder nozzle with a block, already hot tightened down, with a heater and thermistor all already installed. So in the event that we have a problem, I can hot swap a machine and move it over and not have to deal with the assembly process. It is easier for me to do it that way because I run less risks. I run less problems by doing it that way. So it's different, right? Things are a little bit different. And maybe it's because we are a high value, low volume versus high volume, low value, right? And that could just be my fundamental difference, but I don't know. But as a hobbyist, I'll change out nozzles all day, especially when they're as easy as like a Bambu. I mean, the A1 style where there's no wires, that's goated as far as I'm concerned with nozzle swapping. You would get me to swap nozzles a lot more on something like an A1 than you would on other platforms. It's just easier. But from a business perspective, we can't use them, so... Look, if we want Doge to actually make a real impact on our government, just get rid of the entire Defense Department and replace them with mildly upset Cuban women that just yell in Spanish.
No, they don't even need to do
countries.
that. They just have to show up and be like passive-aggressive, explain why this is a good job, and if you can't make it convincing, it's gone.